hello everybody. We're from Group Charlie and we did the Auto Archive project. And the premise of this project was that nearly everybody uses emails. And emails can amass to quite a high amount, so everybody wants them to be organized, but nobody has the time to organize them. So we wrote a superior email client that has the main feature that it organizes the inbox into folders automatically for you. And additionally, when you write an email, it will intelligently suggest attachments if you want to attach something. We wrote the entire email client ourselves, and we wrote the UI in TypeScript plus React. And this UI is based on the Outlook UI, and it presents all the standard features like email preview and seeing the folder structure on the left. You can also display any normal email with HTML, the hyperlinks work, all the standard email client features are available to you. Now, to implement the main feature, we had to take an email that's just purely text, vectorize it so that we get vectors that we can actually run a clustering algorithm on, and then finally name the clusters. So for the first step, we vectorized this text, and so what we did was we looked at the importance of each word. So to look at the importance of each word, we look at how often it appears in an email and how unique it is across the entire data set of emails. And then we took a weighted average of the words that we transformed into vectors using a preloaded model that we had.
Right, so then we have the vectors, and what we then have to do is transform those into clusters. But what we suffered from something called the curse of dimensionality, which basically means because we get a cluster with dimensionality of about 300 from our vectorizer, the vector space is very sparsely populated, which means that it's very hard for us to decide which vectors are similar and which ones are dissimilar. So what we used is something called principal component analysis, which basically allows you to take any two dimensions in your vector and map those into one dimension, which allows you to reduce your dimensionality if you apply that repeatedly. Which means that we got our initial vectors started with something about with a dimensionality of about 300, and we reduced that to something of about 20. Right, so here you can see the cluster actually at work. So you can see a 2D mapping of the emails. You can see the names of the different clusters down here. And please keep in mind that some of the clusters might not seem very coherent, but that's because they might be in a higher dimensionality, because this is a 2D mapping, obviously. Right, after we've attained those clusters, what we had to do was naming. Naming was quite a difficult part of our project, and in the end what we agreed on was that the best approach was to look for common words and common meaning in the subject line, and to look for common senders. And then it tries, based on those data and those similarities between emails, it tries to find names for a specific cluster, and if it can't find a specific name for that cluster, it tries to recursively apply the clustering algorithm to that particular cluster to see if hierarchical emails are possible to name properly. Right, if you then get a new email in, what we do is we vectorize that as before, as our old emails, and then use base classification to put that into the cluster it's most similar to. We also obviously offer the client the option to just recluster the entire thing, which is to take into account the new and the old emails. The last bit of our project was the attachment suggestion. The attachment suggestion is looks at a couple of folders that the user can specify, so it can specify which folders we're allowed to look in, and then it looks at the files in those folders and keeps track of the vectorization of those files, so look at the content, and it keeps track of the files that were most recently changed, because those are most likely to be wanted as an attachment. Right, so here what you can see is that you can select folders, you can add folders, you can remove folders in which we can see the attachment suggestions. And then here you can see that if we create a new email, we can say attach, and then it will open, because here in the email you've got the compiler construction word, so it says, let's go to that folder and suggest that file. Right, so all our code is open source. You can find the UI code there and the backend code there. Thank you for listening.